that would explain. Here you go. Hello.
Oh.
Welcome.
So I guess you just did not hear what I just said about the creator of the air fryer deserving the most toe-curling, gut-wrenching, sweaty, sloppy-toppy of their life for creating such a beautiful invention.
Praising the creator. All right, but we're getting ready to start here. I'm super excited. Let's go. It's been a while.
I know.
See if we remember how to do this. 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome back to another episode of But Sex. I'm here, Cody Shantz, your host.
And I'm Pixie J. And this is the show where we talk about nothing but sex.
And I'm super excited to be back. We took a bit of a week off.
An extended break for the holiday season to spend with our families.
It was nice. It was very much needed. I didn't want to take a break. I felt like we were having a really good flow, but it got way too crazy and busy. Yes.
Got in the way.
How was your holidays?
My holidays were good. Christmas was just, chill at home.
Regular Christmas?
Yeah, my immediate family. Nothing too exciting. But for New Year's, I went and got married.
Woo!
So that day was a shit show.
Was it?
Well, yeah, because I had my bachelorette party on Wednesday, which you had tagged along for towards the end of the evening.
Much fun.
So we got to party together at the end of the evening.
This one got hammered.
I was gone.
She was drunk.
I was so drunk.
So drunk. We got there at 10 o'clock or something like that.
I was already drunk by the time we got to the bar. She was already
so hammered by that time. It wasn't even late.
And nobody let me buy my own drinks the entire night.
Good.
Everybody was buying me shots.
Yep.
The bartender did not let me pay for my drink. I tried and he refused.
We go there so much. So
and then I tried to pay for my own drink at Boycott, and Janie swooped in and said, "No, bitch, I don't think so."
That's right. We went to Boycott.
We did go to Boycott,
some karaoke too.
Where I blew my voice out because I was so drunk.
Oh, dude, she was killing it. You would have thought it was her debut performance right there. She was performing in front of thousands of people. She was given the performance of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. And then I woke up Thursday with a light cough, and I was like, you know what? I probably just smoked one too many cigarettes being drunk as hell. Gave myself smoker's lung real quick. I should be fine by tomorrow.
2 weeks later.
It was indeed not fine by tomorrow.
Nope. No,
I woke up Friday sick as a dog. My nose was leaking. I was hacking up my left and right lung. And so on New Year's Eve, I was sick as a dog for my wedding. And my now husband also woke up sick on the morning of our wedding. And then that
is that a bad omen?
No.
Respect.
Yeah.
Just asking.
It was just one of those unfortunate timing things, And the real kicker is that the day before, so on Friday evening, I get a text message from the best man.
Oh, is that a good thing or bad thing?
Well, it was bad because he told me he could not come because his work refused to give him the time off.
For a wedding
he's in? Of his besties, yeah.
That's fucked up. I'd be like, okay, fuck you, work. I really don't care.
That's what I said. Well, I didn't actually say that, but when he was like, my work won't give it to me off, I was like, well, your work can suck my nuts.
Seriously. Dude, it's one day and it's a big life event. It's a fucking wedding. I feel like weddings and funerals should have no questions asked.
Yeah, and then the day of, she's like my little sister. She texted me. She got sick. So she did not make it. And she was supposed to be our stand-in flower girl type situation. And then the photographer texted me 2 hours before we were supposed to meet up to take pictures to tell me that he was not going to make it either because he was also under the weather.
You did have backup though, because I saw some pics.
I did have backup. So my dad
looked good.
My dad is awesome. He used to do freelance photography in his spare time just for fun. So his phone has really good quality camera. So he made sure we got a bunch of group photos, and then my man of honor, Trey, love him. He made sure that we got lots of good pictures of just me and Dorian, and they came out so beautifully. And then the real kicker is one of my bridesmaids just didn't show up. And I
no
still have not
text?
heard from her. No.
She just went MIA.
Yeah. I also haven't reached out because I've been really mad about it. And I didn't want to, like, say anything too uncouth. I wanted to, like, get not sick anymore and gather my thoughts and feelings and then be able to write it down in, like, a coherent way that's not too shamey or yelly, but just like a, hey, this really hurt my feelings. I would have appreciated a heads up kind of thing. But besides that, the ceremony went fine. It was really silly.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is that, like, wait, sorry, before we get into that, like, we need to dive down because that's fucked up. We're going to talk about that. That's fucked up. You cannot, like, go and say, okay, I'm going to be a part of this wedding. I'm going to, like, be, like, you said maid of honor, right?
One of my bridesmaids.
Okay, even still, like, you had a very small wedding. So, like, all these people are, like, very important. Like, they're very much needed.
They were my closest friends and family that I invited.
If some shit happened or went down, a text message,
please just tell me.
Still would have been shady.
I would not have been upset if I had just received a message saying, hey sis, you know, I am so sorry, but I'm not going to be able to make it today. I wish you nothing but the best, and we'll catch up later.
Boom, easy done.
Because, like, when the best man texted me, he put, because he had known for, like, a minute that he wasn't going to be able to make it, and he was so nervous to tell me. He was so scared. He thought I was going to be so angry with him. I was like, I'm not angry with you. I'm angry with your job, but not at you. I do wish you had told me as soon as you found out, but I just appreciate you telling me, you know? So I was sick. Half of my wedding party did not show up. But the ceremony itself was nice. It was really cute and silly, and my uncle was the officiant, and we did the princess bride, the marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. The ceremony itself took 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Can we pull up some pictures?
Yeah, we can pull up some pictures for sure.
Are they on your Instagram?
They are on. I have a couple on my Instagram. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull these up while we find them. No, because they looked super
cute.
And
then it took a whopping minute and a half to sign the papers. So
I saw that you had posted a post about it, and it was saying like ceremony was only like 2 minutes long.
It was 2.5. Our ceremony was short. I have a video of the entire ceremony that included my mom walking me down the aisle, our vows, and the ring exchange. We did things a little out of order because we were chaotic and forgot to grab the rings when we were talking about putting rings on each other's fingers. So we just did it at the end. But it's fine. The order does not technically matter.
Hold on, let me pull them up.
Oh, there's me and my lovely husband. Isn't it precious? I got that dress for $25 off of Shein. That included shipping.
No, but it's so cute.
And that was just an outfit he had.
Personality super well.
You see
went too fast.
This is one of my favorite pictures from that day. Just the way we're looking at each other is so sweet.
Well, congratulations with getting married. That's super exciting. That looks so great. Oh, with the whole wedding party.
I know. I had a man of honor and a maid of honor, and God bless my maid of honor because I forgot about a bouquet. Like, my brain just did not think about it. So this woman stopped at the dollar store, grabbed a fake bouquet, and had some gold ribbon lying around. So she just wrapped it up, and it came out beautifully.
It looks great.
It looks stunning. And my hair, I did myself. I just curled it up a little, and it was so nice.
10 out of 10. That's so cute.
So I'm married now.
Hey. Well, my personal holiday wasn't as exciting as yours. A little not as... Okay, I would say actually we kind of evened out because...
Excuse us. There's a phone call. Somebody forgot to silence my phone. Oh, my goodness. We're professionals. Also, if I'm still hacking up a lung, it's because not everything has cleared out in my system. I'm not contagious anymore, but it's just in there because I'm a heavy smoker.
Watch tomorrow. I'm going to be dead.
Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for your health.
No, my holiday was pretty good. I would say about 50-50 because you ended up getting sick.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up getting sick, but I didn't really do anything too crazy. I finally got a job.
I know. Thank goodness.
Finally got a job. I wanted to take the time off because, one, I needed it off. Like,
yeah.
I needed to find a new direction because I couldn't serve anymore. I was done. Like, I was over it. I was done with people. So I found a job where I'm not dealing with people anymore. I am by myself. I'm just chilling and pays pretty good. Like, I'm very much happy with this situation.
Good.
I only have to work 4 days a week now, so it gives me plenty of time for us to, unfortunately, we have to like switch the day that we record this, but now if we're going to have like a whole day, I'm going to have like specific time off to do these shows, and I'm super excited. Christmas, I got a new camera, so it looks so much better. It just looks, listen, it's cleaner. Not like a Canon camera. It's not going to be the best quality, but it's doing the job. It's a small baby step, and any step is a good step, and at least it's a step forward, and it's progress.
In the correct direction. Yes. And not backwards.
Look how much better we seem to flow. It all looks smoother.
Look at my sleeves.
Beautiful. Oh, whoa. It's just good. Like, it was a really good Christmas. I got to just hang out with my friends and family. My friends and family got us... My friends and I did a little like gift exchange. Aww. We all got them like small little cute gifts. It was really fun.
Cute.
Give me 1 second before we jump into the topics. I have to let these animals in. They are going crazy outside.
Buck wild. So I will entertain the masses for a moment. Hi everyone. How are you? I'm here, and I didn't think I was getting any presents for Christmas, but I did. My mom. A fantastic lady, and I love her so much. She got me some makeup palettes, and they bought my husband a very expensive cologne as a Christmas/wedding gift.
Ooh.
It's like $150 cologne.
Damn. I got a nice cologne too, but I don't think it was $150.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, because the second he opened it, I was like, I know exactly how much money that is, and y'all are insane. Dude, I started crying.
10 out of 10.
What is this cat?
See, now I've let the animals in, and pure chaos has...
be a problem.
Okay, but let's get into it, man. I am super excited. Today we are talking about Kinks. Oh. The kinks of the people, the evolution of the kinks, how they've come about, how COVID-19 has affected people's interests, because being locked inside and being home alone all day...
a person.
Definitely changes a person, being stuck online. To start it off, I think we start, what is a kink?
So a kink is basically...
like the definition.
Yeah, so a kink is simply just a slightly more unconventional sexual preference, really. So it's outside of the realm of what would be considered, vanilla or basic, or I don't like to say it's not normal, but it's outside of typical societal norms.
Okay, so I guess then you would have to then just define a line of what you perceive as vanilla. Yeah, it is all... Because, like, where does your vanilla line end?
For me, vanilla is like... I still think you're vanilla if the only thing you do is spank a butt and maybe a little choking. Like that's still, like, very...
Yeah, that is
vanilla. Very... Like, that's very basic...
You've knocked on the door, but you haven't even
you haven't opened it. You haven't peeked. You haven't opened it. You haven't kicked it open, swung it open. None of that. So vanilla is basically based off of your personal definition of it. For me, had something about vanilla sex is maybe a little like spanking, maybe a grab at the throat just ever so slightly. Maybe you order them around just a little bit, nothing too crazy. But that's still very, like down here, it's very basic situations still. And then once you start getting into, the flogging, the degradation, the cucking, that's when it gets extra spicy.
Spicy. Well, we're going to... dive into the history of kinks here. We found a fun little article, kind of like dives into like the leather and how that was kind of a really big
pivotal turning point for kink
in the gay community. Yeah. So it kind of starts off here. It says, kink has long been part of human sexuality. It's defined as an alternative sexual practice, what considers alternative changes over time and location, from ancient Greek orgies to genital piercings in the Kama Sutra.
Kama Sutra.
Kama Sutra. People have always been interested in things that may not be marked as normal
and
today.
If you don't know what the Kama Sutra is, it is an Indian historical sex book. It's full of various sexual, like any sex position that you can think of is in that book.
Okay.
It's just a whole book on various positions and how to spice things up. And it's very much a spiritual type of book. It's people that use the Kama Sutra on a very regular basis tend to be very spiritual, and they use sex as a way to connect to their spirituality.
I want this book.
It's quite fun.
It sounds like an interesting time.
It's all like pictures, like hand-drawn pictures of every position and what it is and what it's called, and like the proper names, and then even the more modernized versions of the Kama Sutra have like the modernized names that go with it as well.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe we should do a whole episode on that.
That would actually be really interesting. So yeah, stay tuned, because that would be interesting.
Positions in the Kama Sutra. And
one kink-based subculture that has been influential throughout modern gay history is leather. Though to come from post-World War II biker culture, the leather kink is characterized by leather clothing such as jackets, harnesses, and boots. Gay leather bars emerged around the world from the mid-1950s onwards, and since then, leather has been a prominent kink community within the LGBTQ plus circles.
You go to any gay bar nowadays, there are bound to be leather daddies. There's bound everywhere to be people just in the leather community that are there.
I always like those one nights, and it's always random. It's not random for them, but like I don't know when it happens, but I just show up and there's just like a bunch of like leather people there because
of leather. Yeah,
they're doing some like leather thing,
like a
show or something at
like
a different place, and then they go there like after. I think they come to the Rock after, right?
Yeah, they tend to kind of swarm towards the Rock.
They like all come at the same time, and then it's just like, one, it's fun because then there's so many people there. It's like such a good time. But then you just walk in and you're like, whoa. Like, well, there's a bunch of like half naked people here.
You're like, there's a lot of leather daddies.
There's a lot of leather running around here.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
It's very. But during the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s, there was like this really heightened stigma around sex, especially gay sex, because people thought it was like a gay disease. Like you could only get it if you're gay and having gay sex, right? And it was used to shame and demoralize our people, which is not cute. Don't do that. Mind your business. But that brought up a whole wave of activists, and a lot of those AIDS activists were a part of the leather communities. And so they wanted to make sure that sexual liberation was a right and not just a privilege, because, I mean, it is, right? And some of the predominant figures in the kink communities were really big AIDS activists. So there's a man named Alan Selby from the UK who was said to have introduced a rubber scene into London, and he helped create one of the very first versions of the gay men's hanky code, which we touched briefly on a different episode.
Which I think is really interesting too, to kind of show like this is all kind of happening at the same time. Like these people, like this is laying the foundation to then like put us where we are now, and like the whole like gay culture is now, like the whole gay sex culture is now.
And he helped raise over $1 million for the AIDS emergency fund.
So it's like these people are also doing like major.
They're it's more than just aesthetic purposes and sexual purposes. It's a lot of people in kink communities. They really are activists for safe sex, healthy sex, sexual education, raising money and awareness for things like HIV and AIDS and trans youth. So it's like a whole thing. It's a whole community.
These people are really interesting. Cynthia Slater was an activist and professional dominatrix who campaigned for the importance of a kink-friendly, safer sex education. She advocated for sadism, masochism. I had it earlier. S&M.
The SM in BDSM.
Safely, as well as AIDS education, delivered safer sex workshops in bathhouses and BDSM clubs, and created the first women's HIV/AIDS information switchboard.
Which was super important because, like I mentioned just a second ago, a lot of people thought that AIDS and HIV was just for gay people. Like, they thought you could only catch it if you're gay. And that's not true.
Wrong, exactly.
That is not true at all. Was it more predominant in the gay community? Yeah, yes. It was. Which is what created that stigma around it being the gay disease. But you don't have to be gay to catch it. You can be, you're as straight as they come.
I promise you, these diseases, they
don't discriminate.
Yeah, they're not discriminatory.
They don't care. They will get you.
Yeah, they won't.
So safety is so important.
Today, though, gay leather bars and fetish clubs remain a place for LGBTQ plus individuals to express their sexuality with like-minded peers, and the internet, though through chat rooms, forums, community groups, etc., has become another way for kink communities to stay connected and pass on their knowledge. Kink is ever present in queer art as well. Local trans feminist DIY press Easter Road Press recently published and quickly sold out of a trans kink zine that celebrated kinky trans joy.
Which is super cool, by the way. And, I feel like a lot of questions still about sex and kink and topics that, people may feel like they're being judged on. And part of what a lot of these activists do and a lot of these, kink positive websites for learning and stuff want to do is destigmatize that and get it to be a more normal conversation, because a lot of people think that kink is shameful. Yes. Because a lot of people still have that idea that sex is only used for procreation, when it's totally not. That is, something that can and does happen, but sadly, sex should not only be used for that, and that's something I've very much always been an advocate of, is sex should be used for pleasure, and sex needs to be taught in a way that lets you know that it is for pleasure, and that babies can also happen.
So then I guess, when diving into these and all right, so this is where this is where the foundations have been created. Where do these sexual fetishes come from now? And so that's kind of where also that's kind of my question with everything, is where the fuck do we come from? Why are we here?
Where did it come from?
But yeah, it's how did it change from I guess back in the day to this is just a procreational thing to people now have these specific special things that they prefer and like that are specific to this special person.
Yeah.
So where do these sexual fetishes come from?
It's really hard to pinpoint the start of kink, because as far back as the Romans and the Greeks and all those empires, the Greeks everybody was just fucking each other.
Wasn't it too the Romans, they believed having gay sex was masculine?
Yeah.
And it just showed too how strong you were.
I'm a soldier, look at me fucking this other soldier. We're
look how big
strong,
he is. I
big
can
boys.
lift this motherfucker up.
Yeah. Basically, so it's really hard to pinpoint
Honestly,
where everything started, because you can trace it back hundreds of thousands of years. The Kama Sutra is so old.
I need to say this, because also one thing I've always thought though too and said is it is so much harder to have gay sex than it is straight sex.
Dude,
you're dealing with a whole other grown man, not just a petite little woman.
Even when you're a lesbian, it's especially me being a plus sized individual, my tum gets in the way. My thighs get in the way. It is really hard to scissor as a fat lesbian. Let me tell you something. I feel like I feel like whoever is if they're smaller than me, I feel like they have to be on top because I feel like I just can't move my fupa out of the way enough to get it to work properly.
Oh, that's one of my insecurities as well. I hate when I'm on top because I'm like,
I don't mind being on top. I love being on top. But if I'm trying to scissor a very fine lady and I'm constantly having to like move shit around and like reposition every 2 seconds, it gets to a point where it stops being super enjoyable because you're just now focused on your positioning and how to get into it.
Yeah, you're focused on everything else, and it's not focused on the actual sensation of what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one. Man, what about when like your insecurities kick in like during sex?
I hate it. I'm trying to feel sexy and, you know, depending on who it is, maybe I'm wanting to feel a bit more loved and pretty, and it's hard to do that when all of a sudden your brain goes, you are a fat, ugly piece of shit. And you shouldn't be trying to scissor this bitch right now.
That's one of my hard things is because I used to be like very overweight and then I lost a bunch of weight, but I still have that issue where I see myself the same way as when I was like overweight. And so then that gets in the way because now I'm all naked and stuff, and I hate, one of the worst things I hate is when like you're having sex from the side and I'm laying on the side and I can just see my stomach like a
flopping over and you're
beached
like, oh,
whale just like sitting. I'm trying to like hold it together.
Right.
You know when like someone gets to like stomach slash in a movie and they're like, no, like they're holding this. That's me like trying to push everything together.
Trying to cradle your fat and push it off.
I have like my abs are like burning because I'm trying to like tighten everything together. Tight. And it's not bad. Like I look like a normal person. Like and that's what sucks too. It's like I know that like these are just my insecurities. Like they're not actually real. Like I obviously see them because like they're my issues, but it still gets to me, man. And then now I'm just like, ew, I'm a fat blob. How are you having sex with me right now?
Well, here's the thing. Some people are really into that. Some people like
that's true.
Like they
that's
prefer plus size bodies.
That is a kink,
and it is a kink, and it starts to tiptoe borderline on fetish.
Well, so I was just about to ask, what's the difference between kinks versus fetishes?
Yeah, so kinks
there's a difference.
Yeah, so kinks are more of just like basic preferences, right? So being choked, being slapped, being like that's a kink. A fetish is when you get really into the nitty-gritty. So like feet. Liking feet isn't a kink because it's not like a physical. I like to kind of compare it as like the kink is like the physical, more physical part of it, whereas the fetish is more in the brain. If that makes sense.
It is called a foot fetish.
It's a foot fetish, not a foot kink. But the act of a foot job is a kink, if that makes sense. They do go hand in hand, but there is still a very thin line when it comes to fetishes because there are certain things that maybe shouldn't be fetishized that are.
Are kink, it's like the ideas. Two more things, because like I know people have like daddy kinks, you know.
Yeah.
And like mommy kinks.
Yeah.
And it's not like they actually want to have sex with their mom or dad.
Yeah.
They just want that like ideal of a.
So a kink is more of a preference. A fetish is more of a need. Like a fetish, you need that to get off. A kink is just something that you like to add in to spice things up.
Okay.
So if somebody has a foot fetish, they cannot get off unless something happens with feet.
Okay. Wow. So we were doing a little digging, and one thing we did bring up, because we were talking and we're kind of like chit-chatting, putting this episode together. It kind of was like, okay, well, as we know, being in the pandemic and being stuck inside for a whole like year, being isolated from everyone, that fucked with your brain
mentally.
And we as human beings have needs, and obviously a lot of people turn towards porn and turns towards like that. Yeah, online
cybersex, sexting, and because what else are you supposed to do? You couldn't go actually physically hook up with your sneaky link because it was dangerous.
I mean, some people were still doing it, but
I mean, some people still were for sure. Some people were like, I don't care, I got to get my rocks off, you know. Not safe, but it really did change how what people got into because before that it was like, you know, the things you would typically think of, like the BDSM and the sensory play and the foot fetish. And
well, so we went and we looked and we found the top 10 kinks from 2019, 2020, from during pandemic
and
then 2022 after, like how we've changed after. So going through this list, we're starting from like least to worst. In 2019, the number 10 fetish or kink was fetish objects.
So an inanimate object. So for a lot of people, that has to do with like high heels, or it can do with an article of clothing like fishnets,
like lingerie,
crop tops, lingerie, a pillow, glasses, like just something inanimate that can't physically do anything to you, but it does something for you.
Okay. Number 9 was non-human entities.
Furries.
So like furries.
Bronies. I know. Oh,
wasn't like
bronies.
2019 when, like 2017, like when the bronies kind of started popping up?
I remember bronies popping up throughout like high school. Like when I was in high school.
Shit was weird, man. Number 8, sex with other people.
Yeah, threesomes, cucking.
Because that was when we could.
Foursomes,
we weren't worried about
orgies.
anything. Number 7, anal play.
Put it in the booty.
Man, just have gay sex. Just put it in your gay friend's butthole. You guys will both enjoy it a lot more than fucking Brittany would. She doesn't want it.
Listen,
she also doesn't know how to clean her fucking asshole, so you're gonna get doo-doo on the dick versus little gay Tyler down the street who's fucking bleached, shaven, and fucking washed his ass.
Went and got a colonic beforehand.
Literally has not ate anything but like water and fucking air.
A piece of lettuce.
And like maybe a smoothie,
One
a green
almond.
juice.
One
for the last
almond.
2 days.
But no, so for when it comes to booty stuff, I'm like, eat my booty for sure. Just get in there and nom. A finger is fine. Anything else? Absolutely not. I don't think so.
Well, I'll put a whole penis up there.
A whole penis.
A whole penis.
A whole penis.
I was trying to remember how Jess and New Girl said it.
Penis.
All right, number 6. Hold on, waiting for it to load. Restraint play.
Handcuffs, rope, being tied up. Shibari.
I have never actually done any restraint play, but I've always wanted to.
Yeah, I've
had the partner.
Yeah, I've been in handcuffs. I have not been like roped or hog tied or anything, but I have partaken in shibari. I actually did a photo shoot not too terrible long ago, good chunk of months or so ago, where my friend dabbles in shibari, and he had a photographer friend, so he put a shibari harness on me, got my hands, my legs. He did a mermaid knotting, which is where you basically tie your legs together to make it look like a mermaid tail. It was very fun.
Okay.
And kind of therapeutic, which we'll get into as well.
Number 5, voyeurism, exhibitionism.
Do you know what those are?
Yeah, it's like having sex like outside.
Like
in public.
Yeah, it's like
public
wanting to be like
naked.
One of them is liking
Nudisms?
is liking to watch other people. Like you get your rocks off of watching other people have relations. So like your peeping toms. Really, it's like without them knowing though.
Okay.
So it's kind of. It can get into a bit of a gray area, which is why consent is so important when it comes to kink. And then the other one is just when you like other people to watch, or specifically in public.
Well, so that's what I've like kind of seen, like the hashtag exhibitionism and stuff, when like people are like having sex outside.
Yeah.
Or like they're in like a public place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
On the bus, in the back of a taxi, in an Uber, and, you know, the dressing room at the Target.
So.
Bathrooms at, you know, a restaurant, stuff like that. But you have to be, listen, that is illegal. If you are caught, you can and likely will be arrested and have to register as a sex offender. So please, if that is something you're into, be so fucking safe.
It's scary.
Try not to get caught. And I mean, if that's what you're into, you know, you can't really do anything much about it, but don't be dumb.
I get it.
Use your brain.
It's the risk of like
getting caught.
Yes.
It's that there's a fear, that danger in it that's just whoo. A lot of kink has to do with some type of a danger element.
And that's where that one comes in. It's like, yeah, you want the, like, risk of being caught and, like, oh, my God, anybody could turn the corner.
It's like, oh, my God, that's so naughty, you know?
It's,
very taboo. It's taboo. That's why people are into it. It's taboo.
It's so funny, though, because it's one of those kinks that gets displayed so publicly in, like, movies and media. And, like, it's everywhere. Like, it's such a thing of, like, oh, yeah, people having sex in the library. People having sex in the bathroom. People having sex in the club. Like,
and there's other ways that people do exhibitionism without others realizing. Like, you know those videos of those people who go out with their partners with the vibrator, and then they have a remote, and they go out in public and just...
Yep.
That's the super sneaky way to do it.
Number 4, psychological play.
That's your domination, your submission, your punishment, your humiliation, your degradation, your you know, dirty talk.
Those are like, send me money, you filthy fucking pig.
Yeah, like
smell my boot.
Like you're a dirty little whore who's a bad little slut. Like that's what that is. And that can also go into praise as well. Praise king. Oh, you're such a good girl.
I think I have a praise
You're doing
kink.
such a good job.
I love being told I have a good job.
Here's the thing. When it comes to ladies, I like to be in charge more often than I like to be not in charge. Right? So for me, having some relations with a very fine lady, just being like, you're being such a good girl for daddy, is so hot. Because I'm not a man, but I'm daddy for sure.
See, I'm the opposite, is where it's like, I constantly have control in my life at all times, and I'm making decisions and having to, like, do everything for myself. So in a sexual experience, I don't want to have any control, and I want to have no decision making, and I just want to be, like, thrown around and, like,
I feel similar,
done
but when it
until
comes...
like I have to go back to reality and then have to fucking take my life over again and then worry about the 7,000 bajillion things I have to worry about.
I feel similar, but about being degraded. I'm like, I feel like life degrades me on a daily basis. I don't need you to do that to me in bed. However, I did find, after visiting a BDSM dungeon, that I'm kind of okay with it if it's hidden in the form of a praise.
What do you mean? Do explain.
So being like, you're a dirty little slut, aren't you, princess? Such a good girl. Like, just like hiding like the top, degradation inside of a praise is like, oh Lord. Yeah, because
they're holding you up to break you down, to build you back up again.
Well, yeah, they kind of beat you down a little bit and then hike you back up, and it's like, oh.
What did I just experience?
I'm like, oh, I'm tingly.
All right, we gotta get through this. We're already almost like 40 minutes in the show. Number 3, role playing.
Super self-explanatory. Yeah. Nurses, doctors, cops.
Number 2, impact sensation play.
I love sensation play.
Oh.
Like tickling. People get off on tickling. Some people are really turned on by that. I like I like to be blindfolded, so I like to have one of my senses be just cut off, because then I don't know where they're at on my body.
So I've never done that either.
And it like sends chills down my spine.
And then number 1 was feet. Feet was number 1 in 2019.
It's so popular. Like across the board, feet will always almost always come out towards the number 1 slot. Wow. Or at least in the top slots.
As we go into 2022, we found an article that they luckily had done a survey on like an app or something. Some like Kinked app. Kinked app. Yeah. They had like over 3,000 users take this survey of what is your most practiced kink during COVID-19 lockdown. And so this is where things really change, and this is where you realize that people are stuck inside online. So everything is gearing towards online. Mm-hmm. Because as number 1 was in the previous one was feet, number 1 here in 2020 is virtual sex.
Cyber sex.
Everybody is moved
videos,
to... Think about it too, even like VR, like VR porn is becoming such an important thing.
Didn't VR porn kind of skyrocket a little during COVID?
Oh, 100%.
I would think so.
I think everybody too, then they were getting the...
Pornhub was busy. Their servers were very busy during the lockdown. I know I helped with that for sure.
Well, everyone had just like the Oculus and stuff like that. They had the headsets. So then, yeah, they were getting into that because that puts you like, it's
right
as if you are the person.
Because it's in a POV.
Yeah, it's a POV.
And so when you put it into that, 3D setting, it's like it's actually happening to you.
Yes. So then people just get off on that because then it tricks your brain, then you start feeling some other stuff, and then you use your like toys and all your outside stuff, and then boom, you use a little like pocket pussy on top of the VR. You ain't know a difference.
Bam, you're fucking a bitch. But I find it very interesting here that foot fetish, where it was number 1 in 2019.
Hold on, we'll get to that. Don't pass by these other ones. So number 1 in 2020 was virtual sex. Number 2 was dom sub. I like how that one kind of stayed number 2.
It kind of stayed number 2. It's one of those.
It's a good one. Like people love it,
and it's still easy to do over text and online.
It's that true. Yeah, that's I think
that's
too,
why it stayed up so high, because it's easy to tie into that virtual.
There are so many Twitter pages of like dom people of like Twitters, and they just literally interact with their fans on Twitter, and they just send out tweets, and people are like just going off on these tweets.
Yeah, and I feel like this top 3 here all kind of tie back into each other, because our number 3 is orgasm control.
Which obviously you're stuck inside all day. You want to make sure you can jerk off for as long as possible.
Right? So, and that definitely ties in to that dom sub, and can, again, very easily be done over video.
Oh, well, yeah, that's just you watching like an edging video and like edging yourself for a couple days.
Pretty much.
You're like, I'm stuck inside for
the
next
or
7
a dom
days.
Sometimes will tell the sub that they're not allowed until they say so. And that's a form of orgasm control that you can do over the phone.
Number 4 was bondage.
How do you bondage yourself? You're just handcuffing yourself.
Well, I still think people are still looking this up and watching it.
Yeah.
Online.
Yeah.
Like they're still looking up bondage porn.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 5, anal play.
That you can do yourself. You can just pop a butt plug back there and call it a day.
6, age play.
Which,
I don't know. I think
here's the thing.
Weird. I think it's weird. Why do you want to be a child?
I think, okay, here's
why do you want to sexualize children activities?
That's what's happening here. So because if it's age play in the opposite direction, because some people do like to pretend to be like dirty old men. That's
weird. I'm sorry.
Like they like to put themselves in that position of like being older, more mature, and putting themselves in the mindset of, oh, I'm having sex with somebody who's a bit younger than me.
The only one that I have seen...
But when it starts getting into children, babies, that's a very thin line that you're treading. And then, while yes, it is technically between 2 consenting adults, you're essentially fetishizing kids.
Well, and then that's the thing that kind of gets me, is because it's like the diaper play, it's like the binkies and stuff like that. So then in my mind, my head starts thinking like, well, then when you are like around somebody who's got kids and you're around their house and you see all these like regular like, if you see like their binky or their diaper, are you gonna start like getting all horny and shit like around these like kids? That's
where
weird. That
line is so thin, and and a lot of the times people who do age play, it typically ties back into trauma, which we will also speak about in just a couple minutes here. But it's a very thin line that you have to be very, very careful with.
It's weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 7, foot fetish.
It jumped from number 1
to 7.
7, which is insane because it's usually pretty consistently, foot fetishes have always been in at least the top 3 across the board for many, many years. So for it to jump all the way down like that is interesting to me, for sure.
Number 8, role play.
Which, again, very basic, simple, if you ask me.
Number 9, voyagism.
Voyeurism, watching other people. Mm-hmm.
Voyeurism. They're like taking a boat.
We're going on a voyage!
I'm like, come on, y'all, let's go on an adventure. S&M.
Yeah, S&M, sadism, masochism. Do you know what those are?
9.
No.
10.
Okay, so when you are a
2, 3, 4,
sadist,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10.
It means you like to inflict pain onto others. And when you're a masochist, you like to be on the receiving end of that pain. So that's when that impact play, that spanking, that flogging, that nails comes in, that pain aspect. One of them you just like giving the pain, and the other one you like getting the pain.
Me personally, I'm like, yeah, light spanking on the booting, I'm cool with that. I like doing like most things, like in at least like a small aspect of such. But honestly, like sometimes like I see some of these videos, I'm like, okay, I get it. Understand why people like them. But I'm like, holy fuck, you slapped the shit out of my back with a leather fucking strap. I'm going to turn around and beat the shit out of you. Like, that shit hurts. Like,
that's the point.
I know, I get that. And so I'm like, some people like that, but fuck you. I'm like, ow!
I don't like to be like super like boop, 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 boop. But like, you know, if you got a little paddle and you just want to just a couple of nice taps on the ass.
Give me, a couple taps on the ass with a paddle or like your hand or whatever. That's cool. Or like, yeah, even if you want to give me a couple scratches. But no, I see some people who get fucking like welts. They're like bleeding and shit.
They're like bleeding and they're into it. And I'm like,
that's scary. Ow.
That's when having talks beforehand and consent really comes into play, because there is a very thin line that you tread, especially with impact play like that during BDSM, where it can get kinks can get physically dangerous.
See, I'm the type too where I just can't. I like, even if I don't get like opened up enough and it like hurts going in, I'm like, wait, ow.
You're like, hold up.
Like, give me a minute now. Now I'm going to wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, and other people want that. They want it to hurt.
If it hurts, I'm like, I need like a 5-minute interlude. I got to calm down. I need my butthole to go back to normal, and then we can try again.
Which
usually that's how it works. It's like the first time it hurts like crazy. I'm like, wait, hold on. And then once that pain goes away, then it's like easy, smooth sailing. Fun time for everybody. Number 11, golden showers.
Yeah, pee-pee.
Pee-play.
Pee-play.
Pee-play is pretty normal.
It's not for me.
I will pee on somebody if they are into.
If you pay me, hey, listen, if you pay me enough money for a video of me taking a piss in like the shower, I'll do it.
If I am like interested in someone and they have a pee kink, I will gladly like participate. As in, like, I would pee on like my significant other. I would pee on like someone that I'm interested in, and they let that kink like in the shower. I'm like, you ain't doing it in my fucking bed.
We're not doing it in the bed. We're gonna go in the shower first,
the tub, and I will
so it can be immediately rinsed off.
Yes, like no mess. No, you're not messing up any of my shit. But I would be down to like do it to somebody, do it to like the person I'm with. But like, no, don't pee on. Don't. I don't need any of that. Like, but I will gladly do it to you.
I don't think I could.
If you want.
I don't think I got like a video or whatever to send to like a personal sub who's paying me money. Sure. I can send you a little video of me taking a little tinkle. If you ask me to pee on your chest, pee in your mouth, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. I'm sorry. I can't. I would feel just personally icked out by it. Because, I mean, they say that urine is sterile, but it's not. That's a lie.
See, I know. No, not on me, but like, yeah, if you want me to pee on you, fuck it, I'll do it. As long as you're in the shower. As long as like it's running too. Like, it doesn't have to be running then, but I'm like, we turn that shit right off, on. You clean yourself, and then we'll go back at it however you want. What was it, number 12? Impact play.
Spanking, slapping, smacking.
So then isn't that the same as...
No, they tend to go hand in hand.
Okay.
Because when it comes to impact play, it's really that hitting part where sadism and masochism can get into stuff like the more dangerous forms of play, like knife.
Okay.
Which is...
Thing like candles, too.
Candles, yeah.
Okay. Number 13, exhibitionism, outdoor sex.
Which I get.
That's like, yeah, nobody's going outside.
Nobody's going outside, so might as well.
Drop down. Number 14, pet play. I'm assuming that's
your pups and your furries stuff. And yeah.
Number 14, rubber, lax, or leather.
Yep, latex.
Pretty
self-explanatory, I'd say. It's sweaty. It's
I
hot.
am intrigued. I don't have any interest myself because I do have claustrophobia and it freaks me the fuck out.
How tight.
But the people who do the latex suits and like the whole face cover and everything.
The GIMP suits.
I'm very intrigued. I'm like very like, good for you. Like, I'm impressed that you can do that, but I feel like I would instantly have a fucking panic attack.
Did you know that in order...
I want to know what it feels like. Maybe I would put like an arm. Can I put like an arm in something?
In order to get into a proper skin-tight latex suit, you need to literally douse yourself in lube. Like, you can't get it on unless you are swimming in lubricant.
I thought you need like a bunch of baby powder.
Baby powder, Sometimes. But it's like you have to have some type of a slide or a grip, which is why some people prefer baby powder and some people prefer lube.
Huh.
Because the baby powder helps it to grip, but then the lube helps it
slide
right on in.
See, and that would freak me out too, because like, what if I'm like trying to get out and then like I'm stuck for some reason, or it's like hard?
That's why most people do prefer lube, because it, you know, when it's pressed that tightly against your skin, it's not really going to absorb too much into the skin, and a lot of it will still be left on that latex, so it can very easily just come off. But that's a lot of mess to clean up. I'll take a PVC, like a fake leather or a fake latex rubber, because it's easier to get in and out of, and the inside is usually lined with something.
I feel like that should be more common too, because people have like the latex allergy.
Yeah.
Number 15 is uniforms.
A man in uniform.
Everybody loves a man in uniform.
In uniform. Cops, firefighters, very popular.
I like a good firefighter. I like a good man in a suit.
What about a mailman?
No.
The milkman?
Now the milkman can get it. The milkman could get it. Milkman can get it. You got a man in a suit, a nice button-down tie, look a nice dress-up man.
Businessman.
That's good. God love them janitors.
I know. God, I love a good janitor.
Lunch lady. Number 16, group sex.
Which, still coming out the bottom, is pretty, you know, it checks out.
And then last is swinging.
Which goes into that group sex.
Can't be doing shit on COVID-19.
It was a dangerous place.
So that's where we're at 2020. So now we fast forward to like, we have lived through that. Oh, I have hair stuck to me. There's a man.
We've lived through that. It's like, you know, it's been a few years. We learned how to we developed all the vaccines and the boosters.
Come into our new
Most
normal.
people have gotten COVID at some point or another. So it's been a good few years, and we've managed to kind of learn how to navigate it a bit easier. And so with that comes back other types of kink and fetishes that when maybe they were down towards the bottom during COVID are now back up towards the top.
Okay, sorry, so we found a really good article, and it's got so much information on it.
So much.
But the thing is there's so much information, it's hard to find what you need. I should have maybe done a little better job. Kinks, fetishes.
Oh, here's the
world's most common. No, we're kind of looking for just us.
Yeah.
Come on. Zoom. Most common. Here we go. Most common fetishes in the USA. So, Alabama.
Yoni egg. Do you know what that is?
No, what?
It is, so, Alabama, y'all are weird. Not to kink shame or anything, listen. Everybody's got their thing. If that's what you're into, that is what you're into, as long as you are practicing safety and consent first and foremost. You do you, whatever. But basically, the yoni egg is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's like an egg that you plop up inside of you, and then you can, like, birth it, basically.
The fuck?
It very much ties into the yoni egg.
Like anal beads?
Kind of. But for your
For your cooter.
For your cooch. I mean, I guess you could also put it up your butt.
All right, so we do have 50 of these, so we're going to rapid fire these.
Rapid fire, let's go.
So we got Alabama, yoni egg. Alaska, fisting. Arizona, latex.
Which is weird, because it's hot as shit here.
I know, they're just sweating.
Arkansas, voyeurism.
California, wax play.
That makes sense.
Colorado.
Masochism. Also checks.
And then right next to it, Connecticut, sadism.
Mm-hmm. Delaware, group sex.
District of Columbia. Masochism.
Florida, piercings.
Georgia's hair fetish.
Hawaii, masochism.
Idaho.
Erotic electrostimulation. Shocks. Getting shocked.
Oh.
Yeah, with those wand thing.
The fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, respect. I get it. You're horny. Does it like?
It's a
do
type
you
of
feel
sensory
it like
play.
send through your penis?
Yeah, you feel the jolt for sure.
Illinois
It's like
role
tingly.
play.
Armpits in Indiana.
Armpits. Iowa's group sex. Kansas is sports gear. Oh,
they like a man in a football uniform.
Dude, I've seen those. I've seen a lot of like videos too where like people will wear like pads and shit while they're like masturbating and stuff, and like people get off on that shit.
Kentucky, scene play.
Louisiana, sadism.
Maine, BDSM, respect.
Maryland, masochism.
Massachusetts, nylons. Pantyhose.
Oh.
Pantyhose and tights and stockings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Michigan, humiliation.
Minnesota, edge play.
Mississippi, sports gear.
Again. Missouri, used panties.
Oh. So we need to start making friends in Missouri and start selling them our used underwear for some extra cash.
Yeah.
That's where we need to be advertising our used underwear. Honestly, this is actually good information for if you're trying to target your specific sexual content on Twitter, because you can target it location based. You can send your ads via location. So let's say you're trying to get some extra money from used underwear, and that's what your like whole Twitter page is. You need to start advertising your
to Missouri.
Yeah, pages to Missouri, because apparently these people want them underwear.
They want it.
This is good. Montana, sadism.
Nebraska, group sex.
Nevada, armpits.
Weirdos. New Hampshire, sounding. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's putting stuff up your pee-pee hole. Yeah.
I've seen that.
And like the catheters.
Stop.
And but they have like rods. They're called rods. And
every once in a while, like,
you see one guy with one screwdriver?
Listen, what? I actually have seen that. No. Oh, no. Where this is. Is it the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, no. So like, guys can understand this. Like
it is most common.
You ever once in a while, like
too,
if you're like just trying to pee or something, and then like your little pee hole gets like dragged by your pants or something, and it gets pulled apart, and that shit hurts. Or like if something like touches the inside, that it's a weird sensation. Like I don't understand how like I've seen those videos. Yeah, people will put like fucking steel rods just down their little pee hole, and that shit hurts. That's no.
It's safest to do it with ones that have a bit more flex to it. The metal ones and stuff are more for this very advanced sounders of the world.
No. New Jersey, group sex.
New Mexico, chastity belts.
Fucking weirdos. New York, leather.
That checks. North Carolina, suits.
Ooh, that's where I need to be. North Dakota, cuckolding.
Cucking.
Weirdos.
Ohio, uniforms.
You know David Dobrik is into cucking. He likes to watch.
That makes sense. Actually, that checks out. Why do you know that?
I just follow everything.
Oh, okay.
I know everything. Oklahoma, impact play.
Oregon, again, with the used panties.
Woo! Pennsylvania, balloons.
That one is interesting to me.
Like the latex? Or
that
like
it goes into that latex. No, it goes into that latex thing. For some people, it's the feeling of the balloon. For some people, it's the sound.
My mom is deathly afraid of balloons. Like, she hates them. We were never allowed to have balloons as a kid because she was terrified.
But there are people that when they're using balloons, sometimes they'll like blow them up just enough to where they can then mold it around and use it as like a pocket pussy type situation.
I'm kind of curious now.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the feel and the sound of the balloons.
So you like blow it up, put it around the penis, and then like let the air out, and then it like.
Kind of.
You know the trick where you get the balloon and you like suction it around, and then you have like the balloon phone case.
That's exactly what's happening.
Is that like what you're doing?
That's kind of what's happening. Yeah.
Okay. Weird.
For some people that are into it, some people just get off on the sound of it. I don't know. I don't like the sound of like rubbing a balloon. I'm like, oh.
It's not good. Rhode Island is foot fetish.
South Carolina, dominance.
South Dakota, masochism.
Tennessee, suits.
Texas, whipping.
What does that make so much sense?
Dude, they're trying to kill
all the cowboys. Everything's bigger and better.
Utah is voyeurism.
Vermont is edging.
Virginia is balloons.
Washington is gagging.
Ooh. I like to gag. I like to choke. West Virginia, BDSM.
Wisconsin, sports gear.
And Wyoming, bondage.
I'm surprised that water sports is not on there. I thought there definitely would have been a state where they're like, yeah, pee on me.
Okay, so as we can see here, in 2020, that's what they had it. What are the most common? We got to find that too. Fetish is most popular. So in 2022, we did kind of go off.
Yeah.
feet has made it back.
Feet has always been towards that higher slot.
What the fuck is this?
I think this is a...
Oh, yeah, it is feet, well, technically.
Yeah, feet and feet-related stuff. It's very common, and that has to, sometimes that can be the feet themselves. Sometimes it's specifically toes. Sometimes it can be like shoes, like high heels or boots. Sometimes it's specifically feet in like a fishnet stocking or a pantyhose.
I just think it's really interesting to see how all these things have changed because of how our lives and how we have to adapt. Like it changes kind of even all these like sexual, like personal things into our lives.
And what's very interesting is that certain fetishes and kinks can be genetic. So isn't that weird to think? If one of your parents your mom's has a foot fetish, it's likely that you might too. And so like I actually had a conversation with my parents one time, and I learned something about my mother that I was not expecting, but then I thought about it. I was like, wait, I'm into that too. That checks.
So boom, it makes sense.
It makes sense. Speaking of, what are you into, Cody? What do you like?
My personal kinks.
What's like your number one?
Well, so I like to... My number one, I would have to say... Well, I think it's on there. I think gagging.
Gagging?
One, because like... As Andrew Tate likes to say, I like to suck a little bit of that. Have you seen that video? I'll have to show that because that's just funny. It's when somebody had like cut it up and it's like, suck a little bit of that. So I like to do that, and I like to like deep throat and do the gagging.
So you like to be the one.
Oh, yeah, I like to get gagged.
What about if you're gagging somebody else? Does that do something for you too, or is it just you being?
It's me. It's like the sensation and it's the feeling. Like I've actually like I was like hooking up with somebody and I was sucking them off, and like it was getting pretty like hot intense, and I like finished without even like touching myself or anything, but just from like the sensation of like just getting my throat like abused.
That's
and
crazy.
Then that's when I started. I was like, okay, like I want to experience and like go down this more. Another one too, like, and I know this one too has to just do with the preference of like guys that I'm into. It's just like and like I said earlier, like, I'm into armpits as well. Yeah. But it's not like I want to like fuck an armpit. It's more just like I think like, it has to do with like, and I think it has to do with like the masculinity part of it too. Is like armpit hair is like a sign of, at least I think it is. I see it as like like it's just more of a masculine thing. Well, boy, have I got the thing for you. So that's the thing too. So if I just see like, like a really nice looking guy and they've got like, just like nice chest hair, like armpit hair, like it's
you like them hairy.
Nice. Yes.
I don't.
It's nice for me.
I mean, I don't care if somebody has body hair. I'm like, that's your personal preference. Like, if you want to shave your legs, shave your legs. If you don't want to shave your legs, don't shave your legs. But, okay, I should preface this. With men, I don't like hairy men.
Don't like hairy men.
I don't like hairy men.
I like don't know why. Beard. I'll get some chest hair.
I don't mind a beard. I like, you know what I like? I like that little tuft of chest hair that then trails down into a happy trail. I love a nice little happy trail. Like a nice little happy trail moment, maybe a little tuft here. But anything, if you're looking like Bigfoot, no, it's not for me.
No, there is a line, and and
you know
there's
why?
a line that gets crossed, and there can be too much.
I'm very much when it comes to especially certain people that I sleep with, I like that intimacy, that closeness. I want your body pressed completely up against mine, and if you're hairy, it gets itchy, it gets hotter quicker. It's just not a fun experience when I'm wanting that deep, intimate, skin to skin, like chest to chest contact, No, I get you. But with the ladies, I really don't care. I just like ladies. I'm a lesbian for sure.
Well, what are your personal kinks? Let's go to your side.
Well, here's the thing. Do you want to know, like...
Oh, hold on. Before we get into that, because I do just want to specify, I only gave 2, but also I feel like I don't really like have anything I'm specifically into. I feel like I'm just more down to try everything, and then once I find these avenues, so I feel like I haven't really found a lot of
what's
stuff
your
yet.
number one? You don't have a fetish.
Yeah, and this thing too is
you don't have anything that you absolutely need to get off.
Correct. Like, I'll get off on, like, pretty much, like, anything, really, but, like, I'm still trying to find those specific things that I'm like, I really like.
Get you going.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so those are just two of the few things that I have found recently that I'm still, like, open and optimistic to, like, trying new things.
Yeah. So obviously for me, that closeness, that skin to skin, that intimacy, that's so delicious.
Delicious.
Here's the thing. When it comes to feet, I don't like other people's feet.
You're into your own feet?
No.
You like your feet.
I like, yeah. I like my feet grazed, grabbed, like lick my toes, kiss them, put them in your mouth, suck on my big toe a little bit. Don't ask me to do that to you, though. Unless you are fresh out the shower, and I know that's where you just came from, and you put on your little house slippers or a fresh... You get straight out of the shower. You put on a brand new pair of socks. You get into the bed.
The bag.
You get into the bed. You take those socks off. I'm willing to maybe give them a little... You know? But beyond that, however, one of my favorite things, and I don't know if it's more of I don't think it's technically a kink. I think it's just more of a position preference. Because we talked about me liking it hit from behind.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Me getting it hit from behind, pleasuring myself with a vibrator, and they just sneaky pop a thumb
in your booty hole?
In my booty hole, and I'm like, fuck yeah, yep. I will come immediately.
So you like the anal play? You were the anal play kink.
A little bit. Like, well, I don't want a full penis or a full dildo in my ass. I'm just like, if you want to, like, if you're hitting it from behind and you want to pop a sneaky little thumb in there.
That was kind of one thing I meant to say earlier, but I just kind of forgot.
I also love having my ass eaten.
But I feel like with these kinks, and a lot of them too, it's not like you have to full send to, like, be a part of it. Like, there are very much, like, levels. You can start off very light with, like, small spanking and, like, small choking, or, like, just a little finger in the butthole, and, like, that's still cool. Like, you don't have to, like, full send all of these to just be, like, into it. Like, if you like the, like, light meat, like, chill parts, like, that's still, like, being into that kink. You're still into that. It's just in a smaller scale.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you're still into anal play.
Yeah, I am. It's just not the full scale.
Yeah, you don't need somebody shoving up a whole thing up your butthole.
Listen, I don't know how people... Like, I get physically how it happens. Putting a full fist...
Oh, fisting.
Anywhere...
Fisting's really popular.
Anywhere. Is... Ooh.
I would do the fisting. I would be down.
See, I could do that.
I would want to, like... I'm curious to know what that feels like.
I will put a whole condom all the way up to my elbow, and I will go as deep in there as you want me to. Don't pull that with me. Don't try.
No. You can get maybe, like, 2 fingers into my booty hole before I'm like, just put your penis in. And if you try to put more, and then I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
Like, maybe a sneaky third in there, just to really stretch it out, you know?
And you have to make sure you cut those fucking nails.
Cut your nails, people.
Don't be trying to go in there with fucking long nails. These porns
with these women, with these lesbians with, like, the long French tip nail. No! You are going to get an infection. You are going to cut inside of people, which will lead to infection. If you don't keep your nails nice and trimmed, wash your hands before and after, you will easily get a yeast infection, a UTI.
So I saw this TikTok
Keep
and
it clean,
it had a really good question on it.
Yeah.
When you get a cut, the TikTok was like, when you get a cut, you know, they say they keep it clean because you don't want to get infected.
Yeah.
When you get cut into your butthole
and
you poop, why doesn't it get infected? You literally got poop on your cut, and it's fine.
It has something to do with the human body and the membranes, like, inside of the booty hole. So they still recommend that if you do have anal fissures...
Can I poop on a cut and it be okay?
Food... Yes, I would recommend still maybe douching it out afterwards, cleaning it out afterwards, shooting some water. If you have a bidet... Those are really helpful for situations with if you like commonly get anal fissures and stuff. It's a really easy way to keep up there nice and clean out. Don't go putting soap up there. You don't need to put soap up any orifice of your body or in any orifice of your body. Water is more than plenty. And when it comes to the hoo-ha, don't put anything up there. No soaps, no douching, no water up there. Your vagina is self-cleaning. It will clean itself out. That's what discharge is the vagina self-cleaning.
You done heard it here first, y'all.
Don't go putting anything anywhere that it shouldn't go, first of all. That's dangerous.
Don't do it. All right, guys. So to finish up and wrap up the episode here, we decided we'd kind of give you the more very unique and person-specific kinks.
These are the ones that are getting really specific, a little bit more, I don't want to call them oddball, but they're, a bit more left field, if you will.
We're only going to give a couple because there's kind of a lot.
In the terms of what is, still in societal norms of kink. So these are the ones that kind of start pushing past those even more.
This is one that got me. Spectrophiliacs are riled up by ghosts. Ooh. So here's the thing. I love paranormal anything. Mm-hmm. I am very much into the belief of paranormal activity absolutely. And ghosts and stuff. But can you have sex with ghosts?
Some people think they can, yeah. There are people out there that genuinely, truly believe that they have had sex with a ghost.
How? And how do you know?
What I'm thinking is happening is that they're having a wet dream. And the way their brain is wiring or what their dream is about. Because sometimes, those dreams that feel really fucking real. Mm-hmm. And you wake up and then you're like, whoa. And then, I have memories that I don't know if it was real or a dream.
I have those too.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what happens is psychologically in the brain somewhere, some wires are getting misfired or things are crossing in different ways. And so your brain will interpret a dream as reality. So I think what that might be is a lot of those people that claim to have had sex with ghosts, I don't think they're actually having sex with ghosts. I think they're having wet dreams and their brains are thinking that. But, I mean, I guess there are other people that, those more cartoonized.
See, and that's what I would assume is that, then this would just kind of
go the bed sheet, ooh. Could you imagine being like, baby, I want to role play. I want you to be a ghost. Throw the sheet on your head. Woo.
I want him to sit there and masturbate.
But I need to tell you what this catchline says because it's so funny. So it's, you're turned on by the idea or thought of ghosts. And it says, needless to say, bustin' makes them feel good. Come on, Ghostbusters. More like ghost busting a nut, am I right?
See, and I also just kind of think, too, this has to go with the, idea, more so, I'm assuming, fan fictions and,
yeah.
written, stories and shit.
You know what? I blame the movie Ghost. That scene where she's making the pottery and he's behind her and he's dead. He's a ghost. And he's behind her and they're you can see my hands. They're on that pottery thing. And he's a ghost. And she's really into it.
She's just getting off
she's like, oh. And he's here and he's like, oh, yeah. I blame the movie Ghost for people being attracted to ghosts. Okay. Because it was Patrick Swayze. So, I really get it. I understand.
Here's this one. Abasophiliacs are into leg brace and other orthopedic appliances.
Yeah. So, a knee brace, an arm sling, crutches.
These people probably love the first half of Forrest Gump and then shut it off once he started running.
Most of us do, actually. I've never fully sat through Forrest Gump once.
So is that you were into people in a wheelchair?
It can be. That's back into those fetishes that start to get...
Handicap fetish?
Tiptoe an interesting, strange line. Because it's especially as a plus-size person, there are people that they have a preference towards plus-size bodies, but it's not a make or break for them. They just find themselves being more attracted to people with those bodies. However, if you start to get into those things of the overeating and stuff, when you're purposefully basically force feeding your partner to make them even fatter, that's when it becomes a little icky.
Like they're called like feeders or something like that, or like they,
and like it's usually
to, like,
a really skinny. It's usually a really skinny, lanky man and a really big woman.
And they just really all their thing.
And all she does is eat.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she does.
Making her food, whatever.
I mean, like I said, if you find yourself being more turned on by more plus size, curvaceous bodies, I get it. As a plus size person, I will look at other plus size people and be like, oh shit, yeah, I get it. There's the curvatures, the there's more to grab, there's more to hang on to. But once you start tiptoeing into those other lines where it can get physically dangerous, that's where it becomes a problem. And that's where tiptoeing that line of, because there is a difference between preference and a fetish when it comes to actual people's bodies. Mm-hmm. Right? So you have to be kind of careful. And if you find yourself only being attracted to those people, you can't really help that. You can't really help if you find yourself only attracted to a certain type of person or people with certain characteristics. But it still does get to a point where you have to be very, very careful because it could be fetishizing them in a very icky way.
Those things it is a very fine line.
So fine.
Yes.
It gets, some of those lines get extremely blurred. Because it's like, if you only find yourself, say, attracted to black people, are you fetishizing black people? I don't think so, unless you're actively like, I will only date black people because they're, this and that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you only focus in, like, hyper-focus into those people, and you won't even, entertain the idea of somebody outside of that, that's when I start to get a little...
Yeah, that's when you're being very...
Yeah, because it's like...
That's when it starts to just becoming, like, discriminatory.
Yeah, and like, if you have a preference for bigger ladies, that's your preference, and that's what you're into. But if you would sit there and say, I would never date a skinny person, that's gross.
Yeah, there's something weird.
I don't like that.
Clenophilia means you have a thing for turtles.
That's also goes into that feeds into furries and scalies, and
that's just weird. Like, what does a turtle have? And also, too, doesn't that just then fall
have you watched the Ninja Turtles? I had a crush on Michelangelo as a kid.
I mean, that's that's like getting into cartoons, which having a thing for cartoons is normal. Like, I was obsessed with American Dragon Jake Long.
I think we all were.
Oh, he could get it.
I think we all were. Scar from Lion King? Oh, boy.
Let me tell you.
Oh, boy. Okay, this one is interesting to me and also starts to tiptoe into some questionable territory, which is mysophilia, which is rotting flesh, zombies, decaying. And that you have to be very careful because that can start tiptoeing into necrophilia, which is having sexual relations with a dead person, which, first of all, is extremely illegal.
As well, that's actually like
you can catch
so many diseases,
parasites that will eat you from the inside out.
Little like maggots and stuff start to form inside people's bodies.
Listen, if you would like your partner to dress up, role play as a zombie, get your rocks off that way, fine. When it comes to these things, please don't do anything too illegal. Like I said, exhibitionism, sex in public is illegal.
Yes.
But there are ways to kind of, still do that more safely. But if it is icky like that and very illegal, that's why having conversations with your partners beforehand to go over what it is that you like, what you don't like, your hard no's, your hard yeses, what you need to get off, and consent is so important, especially when you get into those kinks that are stuff like versions of C&C, which is consensual non-consent, which is where you give prior consent and that prior consent is given. So like a form of CNC would be like waking somebody up with sex, right? So before you go to bed, you'd have a very serious, in-depth conversation about what you are okay with them doing to you while you are asleep, how long they are allowed to do it to you, because the whole point is like, you put your hand down their pants and you use that to wake them up, right? But you have to have a very serious conversation about, okay, how long do you want me in there to try to wake you up before having to just stop?
Right.
Because then it gets into questionable territories. Like, I had an ex of mine one time who wanted me to wake him up with a blowjob. And so I said, okay, how long do you want me to try to be waking you up with that for until I feel like until it needs to stop? He gave me a timeline of 5 minutes. I set a timer on my phone for 5 minutes. Once that timer went off, if he was not awake yet, I stopped immediately and I backed up and I said, nope. This can continue when he is fully awake.
And so that's kind of just a really big thing here. I feel like a good way to kind of wrap the show up too is just making sure that you are setting your boundaries, make sure you as well as very much vocalize like what you want and what you need, and make sure that you're not ashamed of doing that, because as we kind of talked about and shared like what we're into, like everyone's into such different things, and making sure that you find those people that you're comfortable enough to open up with and explore and let them in, and make sure it's safely with consent and rules and guidelines. Like, it really does change how you see sex, how you have your experience, how pleasurable it is. Like, all those things change. So it's very much a big deal to make sure that we're being just open and also just having a talk about it. Because I mean, even I guess some people like in certain communities could be mad at us because we were like, oh, well, that's fucking weird, like that's weird, like
it's weird to us personally, but if that's your thing, that's your thing. And overall, just safety and consent is the most important thing here. So I will always tell people that they should not only have a verbal safe word, but a non-verbal safe word in case you are being like, ball gagged.
Yes.
And you can't speak and you can't verbally say your safe word. So what I've done is I've set a verbal safe word, and your verbal safe word should always be a word that should not typically come up during sexual play. It usually has to do with certain fruits or various weird random objects, a state. Like pineapple is a very popular, peanut butter is a very popular, Delaware, a random word that it wouldn't typically be announced or yelled during sex. And then having a non-verbal safe word on top of that. So like for me, my verbal safe word is pineapple because it's very basic. It's very standard. I'm never going to say pineapple in any setting in sex.
No.
Unless it's my safe word. And then my non-verbal safe word is a nice, hefty double tap. So if they are on top of me, right, and I feel like I just can't at that moment get my words out, but I need them to slow down, I'll give a nice, and that'll let them know, okay, she needs a moment. We'll stop. We'll check in. Checking in during play and scenes and stuff is very important. Asking your partner from time to time how they're doing. And this can be done in ways that's not so, are you good? Is this still okay? It can be done with how are you feeling, baby girl? Yeah. Do you like how my dick feels inside of you? Do you like how my fingers feel inside of you? Do you like how my tongue feels on you? Like, there are sexy ways to check in with your partner, make sure they're still okay. And if you even feel that their vibes change slightly, you stop what you're doing and you say, is something off? Is something wrong? Is there something different I need to do? Do we need to stop? Do we need to... Some people like to use the stop light method, which is green means go, yellow means maybe let's slow down, orange means I need a brief break, and red is we're stopping, the scene has ended. We go immediately into aftercare, which is just as important as the rest of play aftercare, because some people really need to be comforted and taken care of after, and especially if it's a really intense like BDSM session, checking in, getting them water, maybe getting them a snack, helping them clean. Men, listen, this is a message for straight men specifically, because they do this all the time, and I'm pretty sure gay men do this too. Don't just throw a towel to your partner and say, here you go, clean up. That's not sexy. That's not fun.
No, it's not.
That play is going to continue into aftercare. So it's really nice to, take the towel, maybe clean yourself up first a little, help them out or help them out, and then hand them the towel. They can help you out. Just little things to make sure that your partner knows that they are loved and appreciated, and that what you just did, especially if it's very degrading or physically demanding, was just in that moment for sexual pleasure, and now it is over, and you are back and present with them in their feelings and emotions to make sure that they are A-okay, because there's nothing worse than fucking them tossing a towel at you and then not even asking how you feel.
Yeah.
Because that makes you feel used and like garbage. And if that's something you're into and you don't require aftercare, like you're fine without it, then you're fine without it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of But Sex. We will see you guys next week on Sunday.
Around the same time. I would think.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share our video with everybody. Send it everywhere.
Click that notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live or post a new video.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. We will see y'all. I'll see you tomorrow for That's Whack.
Oh yeah, That's Whack with Cody and Janie.
Bye. Yay.
That was
long too.
Okay,
thank you guys. Bye. How do I turn this off?